We're live. What's up, everybody? This is Alex Kelly back here. We are back. We took a little bit of time off with another episode of the Furloughed Film Talks podcast. Here with my brother Ryan.
What's up, everybody?
How are you, Ryan?
I'm great.
Want to tell
glad to be home.
With our doggo Max, who wants to go outside into the rain. We were in New Orleans, NOLA for a couple days.
NOLA.
NOLA.
N-O-L-A.
Or is it N-A-W-L-I-N-S?
It's also that.
Yeah. So we took a couple days off. It was spring break. We went down there. They aren't having 8 p.m. curfews, thank God. So we got to kind of go see some of the French Quarter. Jackson
Probably
Square.
should have. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I would have been interested to see how it was.
Saturday night or Friday night?
No, like Saturday. Well, I guess, what did we do Saturday? No, we were at Manning's Friday night.
Yeah, and then we went home.
I would have been.
It was pretty fucking crazy outside our hotel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was right.
That little block party
They
going
had a
on.
little party. I was super stoked because UNC had just won. And they got smoked last night.
Yeah,
which sucked. But we are back here with yet another episode. This is going to be a very special episode because we are going to finally review the 4-hour-long epic Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That we woke up at 7 a.m. in New Orleans to watch
and
Thursday morning.
Now has a lot more drama just heaped on top of it from today. So we will get into the Ann Snarnoff thing. The CEO coming out and saying,
"Oh, okay."
Yeah. So
which we almost took a bet on because you wanted.
Yeah, we'll get into all that later.
Okay,
We'll get into all of that later. We're gonna get into everything Snyder cut that's been going on for the last 4 to 5 days because there's been a shit ton. People are freaking out. And before that, we will talk a little bit about another DC character getting their own movie, Zatanna. We've talked about her before. She is getting her own movie, and a writer is now attached to it. So we will talk about that here in a couple minutes. But first, we're going to talk Mike Tyson, of all people.
Okay.
Ryan, what is your thoughts on Mike Tyson?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of before our time, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like, literally all our generation knows about Mike Tyson is he's that crazy motherfucker with a face tattoo.
Yeah, that was
and he
in
had
The
some
Hangover.
cameos in the Hangover movies.
Yeah, which
like that's pretty much, and he bit Vander Holyfield's ear off.
Yeah, because that was like 2000 when that happened.
The fuck are you talking about?
What year was that?
No,
Mike
it wasn't.
Tyson bites Holyfield.
That was like in the 90s, if not the 80s.
97. I was only a couple years off.
Okay. 3 years off. Yeah.
So
but a whole millennium off.
Yes. So the other, we'll get into this part here in a second.
What are your thoughts about Mike Tyson?
I think it's insane that he is getting his own limited series, which is going to star Jamie Foxx as Mike Tyson, with Antoine Fuqua, F-U-Q-U-A. He is directing this limited series, which doesn't even have a home yet. And it is being executive produced by Martin Scorsese. So very interesting. Antoine Fuqua, I'm really butchering that name, Jesus. He directed Training Day.
Okay.
So a lot of really good people attached to this.
This is just like a biopic? What is this?
Yeah, it's a biopic on Mike Tyson's life, which I'm going to be very interested to see if they gloss over the fact that he was sentenced to 6 years in prison in 1992 for rape. So we'll see if they touch on that, because I don't think a lot of people know that happened in 1992.
How long was he sentenced for? Because
6 years.
He got 6 years, and then he came back and bit Evander Holyfield's ear off.
Yep. And then now,
wait. If he got sentenced in 1992, how was he fighting in 1997?
After 3.5 years in prison, Tyson was released for good behavior, and then was subsequently put back in jail in 1997 for, I guess, biting a guy's ear off. That didn't
got arrested for that?
No, he did that. That didn't happen. But
okay.
Like, you would think that would, like, what's it called? Violate some terms of parole. If you bite somebody's ear off.
I guess not.
But
yeah, I mean, I could do without it. Mike Tyson. Like I literally could care less either way.
No, so do I. But like the reason I really brought this up was the whole rape thing, because like I had really no idea about this until like 8-9 months ago,
Okay.
and then it was like I was listening to somebody like talk about him on the radio,
Mhm.
and they kind of just like barely mentioned it, and I was like, wait, what? So I like looked in and I was like, oh Jesus, like he did that, like
Yeah.
so it just feels kind of weird that we've like accepted him again after he did that, but like I don't know, it just feels kind of weird.
I mean,
He has his own show on Adult Swim.
is he really?
He has like an animated show on Adult Swim.
It is. It definitely is weird that like he was able to be in like a major movie.
Yeah,
You know, like he like is in a lot of. He like kind of pops up in a lot of different shit, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and it's super weird that like Hollywood in this culture is like
okay with that.
yeah, like just okay with them like making a limited series about him. Like, and it's not, it would be different if it was like, we want to honestly like portray like, you know, what he did and what his life was like and everything. But like, highly doubt that, because he's like actively involved in this and like has like been very vocal about the fact that like Jamie Foxx is going to be playing him. He's like super stoked.
All right, well, let's start the crusade to make sure this
to
thing
cancel
never,
Mike Tyson.
No, to make sure this never gets picked up by any fucking major.
And that's the real
like,
thing. That's the thing that I
network or-
don't understand. Like, it literally hasn't been picked up by anybody.
Well, maybe that's why. Like,
Maybe that's why.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
plus, like, I think most people are like us. Like, okay, you know, you can like pretty much cover Mike Tyson's career in like 15 seconds. Like, he's a pretty good boxer. He went to prison for rape, and he's crazy as fuck. Got a face tattoo and bit some dude's ear off. Like,
Yeah. And then was in The Hangover.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting, right? Like he was a world champion at one
I was
point.
like, and here's the other thing about this. The project is expected to be shopped to various streaming outlets and networks and comes on the heels of Hulu announcing in February its own Tyson limited series, Iron Mike, from the team behind I, Tonya. So not only do we have like,
But we have two fucking series happening
Yeah.
here.
Tyson previously slammed the Hulu project as tone deaf, cultural misappropriation of my life story. To make this announcement during Black History Month only confirms Hulu's concern for dollars over respect for Black story rights. Hollywood needs to be more sensitive to Black experiences, especially after all that has transpired in 2020.
That's the statement he put out.
Yep.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, so we'll see how that strategy pays off. I don't know, dude. It's gonna be really interesting to see, like, if any of that gets brought back up. But you know,
So I guess I'll watch the Hulu one just because like that seems, if he's bitching about it, it's probably gonna be the more accurate of the two.
yeah, and it's from the people.
Actually, not even. Like I don't honestly.
I don't give a shit about Mike Tyson.
Then why are we talking about it?
Because like I think it's interesting, like because it needs to be brought up because like Jamie Foxx is freaking attached to this. Like
Jamie Foxx
it needs to be brought up that
isn't
they're
a
like
fucking serious actor. I mean, give me a break.
Jesus, Ryan, he won an
What?
Oscar.
For what?
Ray Charles.
Whatever.
Anyways, I'm just saying, like I think it needs to be said that like if they try to like sweep that part of the story under the rug, it's like, nah, bitches, like you can't just like get away with that kind of shit and
I mean,
assume people are gonna like forget.
yeah, like honestly, do you think?
Like, what do you think is gonna happen to it? Okay, if tell me if I'm going off on a weird tangent here. If like Deshaun Watson, like it comes out that like it's up to 12 now
Yeah,
women, and
Yeah.
like he was like putting his penis on their hands and like making them like do shit like that.
right.
Like, is he ever going to be playing in the NFL again? Like,
Yeah, of course he will. For sure. Yeah, I mean,
okay. Will he or / should he? Like,
yes to both.
okay, I don't know about the second one, but like, will he? Do I think the NFL will probably give him a second chance? Probably.
Yeah, probably. You don't think he should? Like, even if he say he gets suspended for a full season,
Mhm.
you don't like even after that, you don't think he would be? We should like let him back in the league. You think we should literally cancel the man's career because
If it's endemic that he's done this a lot
okay.
and like has ruined multiple women's like lives, close to a dozen now. Like,
Right.
yeah, I think there should be. Well, okay, it shouldn't even be up to the NFL or the Texans or whoever. It should be up to like the Justice Department or the FBI or whoever it is, the Houston Police Department, to like bring charges against this.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a completely separate story. If you were to go to jail, then yeah, I guess so. But like, you still need to talk about that type of stuff. You can't just like act like that never happened.
Yeah,
it's
for
just
sure.
weird
Which
to
the
like
NFL would never do. Like,
yeah. Well,
I mean, so on the one hand, like, we barely know fucking anything about this. Like, all we really know.
Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just saying, like,
all we
that's
really know
completely
about the situation is that, like,
yeah.
there's an accusations and lawsuits filed.
Accusations.
Yeah, and lawsuits filed by a fucking attorney who's like representing all these women and like is looking for. He's basically like, this is a money grab on his part, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. And we have these accusations. Like, if they can like definitively prove that, like, and there's also like I think a difference between like coercing masseuse to like
rape,
touch your dick, and then like forcibly
raping somebody.
Sexually
yeah. I'm not saying
someone,
they're like
right.
I'm not saying they're one and the same. What I'm saying is like I think they're both highly reprehensible, and so it's like, how do you then look at that person if they are convicted after the fact?
Yeah, I mean,
how do we portray them, or how do we tell their life story, I guess?
Right.
And I think my worry here is that if like he is involved with this project, it might skirt over that. Maybe it won't.
Sure.
Maybe, and like I feel like we should get ahead of that and be like,
I do feel like it is kind of because who's this guy who's making it?
The guy who did Training Day.
Fuck. I mean, it does feel a little irresponsible for that guy as an artist to have his subject involved in the making of said art. So,
yeah. Oh, dude,
that doesn't seem great.
Sources say Tyson's camp received calls from major studios who wanted to work with him on an authorized story following Hulu's announcement.
This makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
I mean, there just must be like a fucking huge fan base for Mike Tyson that like honestly either doesn't give a shit or like takes very, very little stock in the fact that he's a convicted rapist.
Well, and I hadn't read this far into the article, but the Hollywood Reporter references that. They literally say, finding a buyer, and this is straight from the Hollywood Reporter article about this, finding a buyer for this new project might prove tricky, however. While there's doubtless audience interest in a biopic of Tyson, who's arguably the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, especially with auspices like Fox, Fuqua, and Scorsese involved, given this is an authorized project with Tyson collaborating with the creative team and on board as an executive producer, will almost certainly provoke public skepticism about its accuracy and its willingness to candidly tackle the more controversial aspect of the boxer's life, namely Tyson's being found guilty of raping an 18-year-old in 1992, as well as potential discomfort with the fact that Tyson will apparently profit from the enterprise.
Yeah.
So
it's fucked up.
That's really dumb on their part. So that's why we bring these types of stuff up, because point out that the movie business is a little dumb sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll get into way more of that later.
Yeah.
But we will be providing more information as that comes out. But a DC character has a new writer for her movie. She is getting her own movie. It is Zatanna. Ryan, did you see who is going to be writing the Zatanna movie?
I did.
Who is it?
The lovely director of Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, Emerald Fennell.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say it.
Better known as Horseface.
Yes, Camilla from The Crown. So
took Camilla to the horse races today.
She won.
That's
a
Craig Ferguson reference, guys.
Not us.
Not our joke. That's hilarious. hilarious.
It's one of the funniest jokes out there. Anyways, so it was
Especially
announced.
when you have a horse on stage with you.
Did he do that joke with the horse on stage?
The horse is always on stage.
No,
Wait, no, is it? Yeah, no, it is. He's got a little stable there, and he's like,
Well, yeah, but like there was a point like earlier in his show that like that wasn't ever there. He added the horse and
let's just say
robot
it was.
later.
It's funny.
Okay, it's way funnier.
Makes the memory way funnier. To think he made that joke with the 2 men in a horse suit.
Anywho, so yeah, Emerald Fennell has been tapped to write, not direct, the Zatanna movie. There is no director attached to this yet, which feels kind of odd that they didn't just go ahead and have.
Okay, did she write Promising Young Women?
Yes.
Okay.
So, her feature directorial debut, Promising Young Woman, has been the toast of awards season, along with 5 Oscar nods. I hate when these people write like this. Anyways, along with 5 Oscar nods, including Best Picture, Screenplay, and Actress for Carey Mulligan. The movie has garnered attention from the Golden Globes, BAFTA, Directors Guild of America, and the Writers Guild. It won some Writers Guild award last night. I think for Best Original Screenplay. So this is a huge get for DC to have, Emerald.
So it's a DC character.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what's this woman's
abilities?
thing? Yeah.
She can do magic.
So she's
she's
the Doctor Strange of DC.
Yeah, kind of, but like in a weird.
Oh, like straight up a magician.
Yeah, like a magician,
like a Las Vegas magician.
Yeah, but like can actually do magic.
That's cool.
No, Zatanna has never. She was done in live action on Smallville, kind of later in the Smallville run. That has been the only time that she was done in live action. But she is a magician and considered one of the most powerful sorcerers in the DC universe. Her magical abilities are genetic, as her dad, Giovanni Zatara, was also an alchemist.
Okay.
So she's really more a part of like Justice League Dark. She has a lot of interactions with characters like Constantine. So it could be really, really cool to like see her, be done. And I think with Emerald, writing this, I think it's in really, really good hands. So they picked a good one.
Vinny's saying that she was an extended member of the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And what's up, Vinny?
Hope you're having a good one, Vinny.
We'll get to audience questions halfway through or so
in a couple minutes. No, but there's a larger discussion that was happening around this hiring because somebody I saw was just basically saying like it's crazy that like this is now the promotion kind of the only way you can get promoted in a movie or in the film industry. Like you go from doing like a indie movie and your step up is to go to a superhero movie now.
Okay. Oh, wait. First thing.
I knew this was going to start a combo.
wait. Promising Young Woman was not a fucking indie movie.
You would not call that an indie movie?
Fuck no.
Okay, I would have, but
no. What studio did it?
Promising Young Woman. Film Nation Entertainment.
What was the budget?
The production company. The budget was $5 to $16.9 million.
That's a range.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what it says on.
Wait, okay. Would you call Nomadland? Would you consider that an indie film?
Yes.
Then what the fuck is an indie film?
Like a smaller budget, like not a big budget movie.
No, I would think I would consider an indie film like anything less than maybe like something less than like $250,000. If you're spending, if you're spending like $5+ million on your film, like that does not feel like an indie
Would you
film.
say Jockey was an indie film?
Barely.
Yeah, like that's an indie film. Like I think Nomadland is much closer to Jockey than it is like Ocean's 11. That's a bad comparison. I can't think of any other biggest movies. It was distributed by Focus Features. So
okay.
Yeah, no. It's not an indie film.
Thank you. All right. Cool. Well, I mean, but what's your point for the
So the point is like going from kind of smaller budget movies that are, you know, feature debut
Mhm.
to like the only next logical move for somebody who like has had a big breakout. It's not to basically have like a Christopher Nolan did the same damn thing. The
Yeah.
next move is to like, if you want to continue to blow up, it's not, hey, go to a studio and say like, hey, I want, you know, 60 to $100 million to do this original script. It's
Mhm.
come to Marvel or DC and write us a superhero movie, and then you can jump to $100 million. If that succeeds, then you can
Right.
jump to a big budget, you know, original screenplay that you have. So like Taika Waititi is the perfect example. He did,
Kind of.
you know, what movie was it? Holy crap!
I mean,
He did Eagle versus Shark.
Eagle vs. Shark. Then he did What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows, and then Hunt for the Wilder People,
Mhm.
and then he went and did Thor.
Yep.
Now all three of those movies are amazing, but they never blew up over here. Then you had Thor Ragnarok, which absolutely put him on the map.
Yeah.
Then he did Jojo Rabbit, which was like all over the awards.
Yes.
So that's kind of the model now. You can't really go and have your, you know, stardom blow up until you're a part of one of these like bigger budget like superhero movies, maybe even like a Godzilla versus Kong type of thing. I think that, and that's what some people are worried about.
No,
like,
I think that's. I mean, I think it
could
could
Emerald Fennell go to like Disney and get $100 million to do anything other than a Star Wars or a Marvel movie?
No, well, no. First off, because Disney doesn't make anything but those.
Okay, let's
Right.
Warner Brothers.
And she should. Okay, like first off, she probably can't. Right, and she probably shouldn't, because like just because you make a successful whatever that fucking movie was, like I don't know how you would describe that movie. Insane, right? Like just because you made a critically acclaimed movie, like doesn't mean you just get to step up and like someone just hands you, you know, $100 million.
Okay, so
budget,
maybe $100 million is
But-
not the best, but do you think she has the credit to where somebody should look at her and say, okay, hey, here's 50 mil. What's your
Yeah,
best
no, I think-
script? Like, what's your bet? But like that doesn't happen now. Like,
Yeah, it does.
no, it
Dude,
doesn't.
okay, what is Jung Boon-ho doing?
Bong Joon-ho?
Would Bong Joon-ho, like he's not fucking making a superhero
Because he
movie.
reveled in freaking Korea for like 3 decades and was doing like everything over there, and still then had to until Parasite like blew up.
So I'm saying though, like he is
That's-
the exact same
that's
basic thing that
the-
happened to him, right? Like he had a critically acclaimed movie that blew up in award season, and like
Yeah, but that's like
He-
the outlier of all of them. Like, there's not that many directors who have like a
name
critically.
okay besides Taika Waititi and Emerald, like name one other director that
Matt Reeves. There's Matt Reeves who was going to do in a Batman movie. They pick up people all the time from these like smaller movies, and that's the way that they get famous. Like, they're not,
because that's
getting-
like if
and it is.
if
It's
you're
a
gonna
step
blame
up.
if you're gonna blame anyone for that, like blame
Us.
blame Disney for like going out and finding Taika Waititi, the Russo brothers, like
The Russo Brothers is a good one.
multiple times. Like Disney has like made this the mold, and I think this you shouldn't take this as a issue. Like it's
The only
it's
reason
a
I
good
take this-
it's a
the only reason I take this as an issue is, yes, I like that these directors and writers are coming into these, you know, franchises
Mhm.
that we both really like, and so now they're getting these really creative people to come in and do these types of movies because they make a fuck ton of money and it puts them on the map.
Yeah.
But what I really am trying to say is, I don't think that they, and you're right, Bong Joon-ho is a great example of it, but that's such an outlier. I think that we need to almost basically say like, okay, like you've done this movie, like you can now go to a bunch of different studios and they're going to give you an increased amount of money and basically say to you like, hey, what's your best script that you have? Like, let's make that like something original.
Yeah. I just think like you're being a little like overly optimistic for like the prospects of someone, right? Like the way it's worked for decades now is like, okay, you make exactly what she made. You make a $5 to $15 million movie, right? And it's critically acclaimed or does really well. Okay, now you take all your scripts and you go get 25 to 30 million. And like it's a long progression.
Yeah, it's a progression.
Before you're Christopher Nolan making like $300 million Batman movies, right? Like,
well, no, because he did Memento. He did 2 movies, I think, before Batman, and then Batman blew him up. He did 2 or 3 before Batman.
I mean, he did at least like 3 or 4 before Batman. And that's just like that's just him directing. That's not all the years he spent, doing assistant work and like,
cinematic style of Christopher Nolan. He directed Following. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Memento, Insomnia, and then Batman.
Yeah.
So 3. So
which, and even for Batman Begins, I don't think they gave him like a fucking gigantic budget. It wasn't really till The Dark Knight that.
Well, yeah, because Batman Begins absolutely blew up. They gave him $150 million to do Batman Begins.
No, okay.
No, I just thought it was an interesting conversation that we could have about this because I think, and I reference him a lot because I really love his movies. I'm going to forget his name now. Jeff Nichols.
Nolan did Interstellar and then he did Dunkirk after the Dark Knight trilogy.
Wow, that's impressive.
What?
On your part.
Did I knew that?
Yeah.
I don't fuck around with Chris Nolan, bro.
I know you don't. But no, like there's Jeff Nichols who, he made one movie for like less than $250,000 and then like got like it did really well critically, and then got like I think $2 to $3 million to do his next movie that did really well critically, and then I think he got up to like $7 to $10 million, and that did really well critically, and then like the one time that he like took a script that wasn't something he wrote originally and it wasn't great, like they haven't touched him since. Like it's that.
Didn't he do Brightburn or whatever?
No, that's James Gunn.
Oh
yeah. So like it's that like there's those examples where it's like this guy has tried to like pave his own way and like has done really well, and then all of a sudden like when he like has one misstep, it's just like.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to take into account here is like all we know basically are like 2 or 3 variables. All we know is like the type of movies they're making, the critical reception, and then the
for sure,
like the economics of it. We have no idea like the interpersonal working.
We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, for all we know, Jeff Nichols could be a fucking piece of shit to work with.
No, for sure. And,
we have no one wants to give their money to him. So
again, we have no idea. We are not calling Jeff Nichols a piece of shit. We are not calling anybody we don't know a piece of shit.
He might be a wonderful guy.
We have no clue. But I think it's just an interesting conversation to see how directing is going, because if you look at it, it definitely is. And I don't think this is an argument we can have. I definitely think that like the next big step for somebody is to get a superhero movie. Like if they to achieve,
I would say it's like nowadays it's one of like 2 major steps you can take.
Exactly.
Right?
So like that's the next step up. And
we also have to remember like another really important part of this conversation is like it's a fucking cutthroat industry to be in.
Yeah, like no, that's true too. Yeah,
I mean, out of all the material that's out there nowadays, between like network TV, cable TV, streaming services, indie films, mid to large budget films, and blockbusters, like
that's a really good point.
There's a shit ton of competition out there.
There's so much content. No, it's just it's interesting. I'm excited that she's going to be directing this. Or not directing, writing this. She has not been attached as director yet. I will be kind of surprised if they don't tap her as director, but maybe that's the point. Maybe she wants to go direct something else. And
again, like we have no idea. Like she might be in the works. She might be already have finished another script and is in the works of selling it right now.
Yeah.
To direct, and then this is like literally her next writing project that she hasn't even started yet. Right?
Yeah.
Like she might have. God only knows how many
Bukus of
scripts she
ideas,
has
yeah.
in the can at this point.
Yeah.
So
Because she has to have been writing for a while. Like as that.
shit, she's like in her 40s, isn't she? Like
Yeah.
late 30s, 40s. So
no, but just interesting. DC picked up another writer, a really good one.
the better conversation around this is like, should DC really be like doing a Zatanna movie at this point? Like, is that a great investment of your money? Like a better investment of your money would be to like lock Zack Snyder into a fucking closet and tell him like, write the next 3 Justice League movies. Here's $600 million,
which is a segue to
Snyder Cut, baby.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. Dear God Almighty, is this movie a crazy one?
Yes.
4 hours and 2 minutes of lots of blood and Batman saying "fuck."
Yeah.
We haven't cursed this episode, I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think we've cursed.
No, we have.
Have we?
I have. I know I have.
I haven't. Give a synopsis, Ryan.
No. Before we.
Oh, okay.
Wait, Vinny, are you talking about the new Justice League or one of Chris Nolan's works? He said like probably one of the greatest pieces of cinema history. I want to know what exactly he's talking about.
Oh, he's probably talking about the Justice League. Let's hit the other questions while he types out.
Sure. He was asking how our trip was.
It was great, man.
Our trip was really fucking fun.
I got bilked out of $20.
Yep. Alex on Conda at $20.
Should we say who we hung out with, or is that just weird?
Yeah, that's not.
Okay.
Well,
no. We did something while we were hanging out with that guy, which was a lot of fun.
No, we can't.
We can't say that.
Cannot say.
Ryan ate a lot of beignets.
Yep, Cafe Du Monde.
He got real fat on beignets while we were there.
I was really mad. I was 1 day away from eating Cafe Du Monde every day of the trip.
But why didn't we get it the last day we were there?
Right? The last fucking day we were there, the line was literally longer than a city block.
It
would have been like, well, the line we were in probably would have been like 45 minutes to an hour. So we would have missed our flight.
Yes, we would not have made our flight.
Yeah.
And here's the funniest part. If you had taken, because like they basically have like 2 lines. So
they
like
really have 3 lines.
Yeah. If you had taken the line that we were in and put it at the end of the other line, it would have gone past that city block. Like,
whoa, yeah. It would have been across this. Yeah.
It was nuts. It was crazy that last day. He said Snyder Cut.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
So yeah, the trip was really fun.
Just good to relax, get away.
It was really good to like get the fuck out of Dallas after 15 months of
just
lockdown and shit.
The hotel we stayed at was really nice. There was a jazz band outside of it Friday night.
Yeah, we had a good time.
We did really good. Yeah, it's one of those things that like
we didn't get any fights, which is good.
Oh, thank Jesus.
We immediately got into a fight on Sunday.
Oh, you and me?
Yeah.
What did we get in a fight about?
We kind of got pissy about Katie.
Oh, yeah, that was dumb. On my part. But like the thing, like it was such a trip where I think both of us were just kind of like, we don't want to plan anything. We just kind of just want to like play it all by ear and like not, because we've been on so many trips. And
I think it's kind of cool. Like I've been there so many times that I got to like take you to like some places that you actually hadn't seen in New Orleans yet.
That was a really, really cool part of it because you knew a lot more about the city, and so I think we're going to be. You've been there, you've been there a lot.
It's fucking like if all the places I've ever been, like New Orleans has got in the top like 3 places I would live.
Yeah,
New Orleans, San Diego, or New York, for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Probably not New York actually. But
New York be expensive as hell.
But goddamn, like getting that apartment on Bourbon Street, like how fucking crazy would that be?
That'd be insane. I'd be like, mine would be like Denver, Austin, and New Orleans.
Yeah,
New Orleans is great. But no, like what was I gonna say?
Mm.
Oh, I think we're gonna be back there soon-ish, probably sometime this year.
Definitely in November.
Yeah, so I want to go on like a swamp tour when we go back.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I would want to also see a game in the Superdome. I think that'd be fun.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
I've never driven by that close. I've never been that
That was
close.
fucking huge.
Yeah,
dude.
it's massive.
What's our opinion on CW recasting Kate Kane and not having Ruby Rose?
Shocked.
Really?
Yeah, they were saying that they weren't going to recast her, and they basically
Right.
like in the show. I don't watch Batwoman, but I had seen some articles about this because I used to follow the Arrowverse really closely.
Sure.
But then dropped it like it was hot.
I mean, it seems very abrupt because, like,
well, in the show they had said that she had died. She had like gone missing in a plane accident, so it was like she's dead.
yeah.
But then, like out of nowhere, they've just like recast her. So it's kind of like, whoa! Like,
I mean,
what
I don't
the
think
hell are y'all doing?
either of us really watch this show, so we don't have.
No, I mean, I just have a strong opinion on it because I used to like Arrowverse, and it's
Okay.
it's
well,
shocking. It's very interesting that they decided to go ahead and like bring her back or bring the character back with a new actress.
right.
So I think that's very interesting, and I guess I mean I'm not going to watch the show, but I'm going to kind of follow the news about it to see like where that storyline goes, if that's
Mhm.
truly Kate Kane or if there's some hinky dinky weirdo stuff going on.
Well,
that's my take.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked Ruby Rose. Or I like Ruby Rose, not just in
Yeah,
the character, but
she just got tired of the role and
I
tired
don't
of
blame her.
all
I
of
mean,
that went into it. And yeah, I could totally see how
and
that.
she was really good, like in at least the like crossover thing,
Yeah, she
whichever
was
fucking one she was in.
Crisis
as.
on Crisis Alert.
Crisis Alert.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. So that's it. So we can get in the Snyder cut. Let's preface this with like a quick, just touch and go landing of the Joss Whedon Justice League. What are your like quick hit opinions on that Justice League?
I will never do. Okay, so do you want like my overall impression of seeing it and what I thought of the movie, or just like my overall impression of like if I like the movie or not?
Yes.
Okay, so
whatever you want to do, I don't care.
I'll never forget like seeing this movie in theaters and like sitting down and thinking in my head like I really have not heard anything about this movie. Like there has been really no publicity for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into the theater and it was like almost completely empty.
Yeah.
And it was the opening weekend. And
it was a Thursday. Like we saw, I've never seen it on.
Yeah. Like, but do you remember like there was like really nobody in the theater?
Barely.
Yeah.
It
was a lot less.
We saw it at Stonebriar, right?
Yeah, we saw it at Stonebriar.
Yeah.
It was a lot less crowded than like I was expecting. And so like by like a lot, but like it was, by a lot, I mean like it was basically half empty.
Okay. But your opinion of the
movie. That then prefaced, and that's when I was just like, oh Jesus Christ, like what are we about to watch? Like why is everybody not stoked about this? And when it started, it was just like, well, what's with his lip?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, okay, so he's just like capturing parademons, dope. And then you get to like the villain, and it's like the like blandest, just like across the board, like I'm a bad guy. I need to go find these MacGuffins. Like I'll be back. Like
mm-hmm.
I thought it was not really well done. They obviously had tried to like force a lot of stuff in. And I really just didn't enjoy it. And I had not had high hopes anyways, but seeing the movie when we saw it, it just felt like a very weird like crossover movie that should have been something huge,
right?
But they just like completely missed the mark on it.
Okay,
that was my opinion. What did you think when you saw
pretty much the same. Like I remember, like the opening sequence of the movie was like really cool because they had like I think it was like a shot through Metropolis. And they had like this kind of somber song playing over it. And this is after the scene where it's like, hey, you want to be on our podcast, Superman?
Yeah, which I still want to cut up and put at the beginning of our...
Right. I mean, like the news obviously had come out before the movie came out that like Snyder had stepped away and Joss Whedon had picked up. And there was like a shit ton of reshoots. So it was really clear that we were like watching a Frankenstein of a movie.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there were some really cool parts of it. Like the scene where Steppenwolf goes and gets the mother box from uh, Wonder Woman's world.
Themyscira.
I can never get that fucking name right. That is like one of the fucking sickest,
Yeah, it's
like 5 to 10 minutes ever of a movie, and it was like so obvious. Whoever watches, like, this is like textbook Zack Snyder right here. This is like textbook.
Oh yeah,
Just like an amazing sequence. And then there was like dumb shit, like, you know, the Flash basically sexually assaulting Wonder Woman, or, you know, the multiple ass shots of Wonder Woman that Joss Whedon like stuck in, like, and by the end of the movie, you're just like, holy shit!
And then on top of that, you had like the whole Russian family subplot, which like
Right.
that was obviously just like added in, like that kind of thing, where it was just like, why the fuck are these people being like thrown in as like your emotional? Because it's
Right.
absolutely just supposed to be like a hey, this is an emotional connection that the audience is supposed to make. To
Not even that, like,
stakes.
you know what it really felt like? This was like the great value, you know, version of the Sokovian citizens that all the Avengers saved in Age of Ultron.
Well, yeah, that's what it
like. That's like. Exactly what it was,
exactly
right?
What it was and what it felt like, because it was literally the exact same thing. Where like Quicksilver has to like go save this little boy, and that's why he gets shot. And it's just like,
right,
you're supposed to have these stakes for the characters, and it's just like, no, like
that's a long way of saying like I think we both strongly disliked.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all, and it was just like cool. Like I would have gone my entire life without seeing this movie, but like,
yes,
whatever, man.
So I listened today, the Fat Man on Batman, their review of it. And you remember, I think we talked about this off the podcast, but you asked me my opinion of the dude that Kevin Smith does the podcast with.
Yeah, because we watched the Kevin Smith documentary.
That's right.
And he was on there.
What's his name?
Brian, yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Anyways, so like you said, you kind of liked him, and I was like, I really dislike this guy.
I just think like there are times where he like has really interesting, you know,
viewpoints.
Mark Bernardin.
Okay.
He has interesting viewpoints on like
just because
the behind the scenes stuff.
Exactly, because he's a writer.
Yeah.
And he has obviously, you know, been a writer on really big projects, so he does have like fairly good insights on that. But a perfect example of why like I strongly dislike this guy, one of his like main takeaways from this movie was like, well, if you really liked Joss Whedon's Justice League, then you know this is just more of Justice League, so you'll probably like it. But if you didn't like Joss Whedon's Justice League, like more Justice League isn't going to make you like it, so you probably won't like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I was like, that is like the most fucking ass backwards like take on the Snyder cut.
I know we're now talking about another podcast and what they talked about, but like, how did Kevin Smith respond to that? Like,
he was just like, okay,
all right, yeah,
he was just like,
no, and like, let's just
Kevin Smith
there.
is just like completely live and let live. So he's not gonna argue with this.
Let's start there. Like, if you have seen Justice League, as some people like to call it, the Joss Whedon version.
People need to stop saying that.
I fucking find it. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
I think
it's really
the guy has taken his lumps in the past week. Like
Joss Whedon.
The last thing we need to do is
probably should
bastardize his name.
It sounds like he's a piece of shit. But
he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that we have heard a lot of stories about, so I think we can say that.
That's fairly verified.
But like this version of the movie, and this is where we can start our review of it. This version of the movie, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, is so completely different.
Yeah.
And some people could be like, well, of course it's going to be different. It's 4 hours long. But like, dude, you could cut out like an hour's worth of shit in this, and it still would be 100% different than the Joss Whedon version of Justice League. Like, it is basically 100% completely different movie than what you had in the first movie,
Right.
up to and including. And I don't want to jump ahead too much, but like there are multiple parts that are like completely changed from the first version.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there's like some people that I was reading about where it's like, imagine if where like the warrant, like where DCEU would be right now, if this was the version that had been released in 2017. Like we would be getting more Justice League,
Mm-hmm.
and we would not be having an ass ton of fans super pissed off right now that they're not going to get anything and that they want the Snyderverse restored.
That they probably won't get.
Yeah, which like, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. But like, imagine if this had been the version that was released back in 2017.
Right.
Like, it would have been such a different.
Well, that's the problem. There was literally no series of events that would have led to this version being released in 2017. Like, let's just say Zack Snyder doesn't walk away from the project. He doesn't have the personal tragedy that.
Oh, I see what you're. Yeah.
Like, even if everything had gone perfectly in production and in Zack Snyder's life leading up to this movie being released, you still had the Warner Brothers executives decree that this movie was not to be longer than 2 hours long.
Yeah, and they they literally like had him cut shit from this version. Like they wouldn't let him put Green Lantern in the movie.
Well, they didn't cut, like, they in no way limited the length of the movie he wanted to make. They did like restrict the IP he was allowed to put into the movie.
Yeah, which like,
but I mean, that's I can see why they wouldn't want to do that, right? Like, but kudos on them for saying like it can be as long as you fucking want it to be. Like, do whatever you want to do, other than you cannot touch these characters.
Well, they said something else. There was another thing that they told him he couldn't do.
But yeah, I mean, your point's completely valid. That it truly makes me sad after watching this film that like not only was this a better version than Joss Whedon's Justice League, like it went from being a terrible movie to like a movie I really, really enjoyed. And what were my like very first words after the fucking film ended?
Holy shit.
No, I literally said like, give me Justice League 2 right
yeah, like
now.
that's
like it makes me so fucking sad that, you know, you have not only like it's a really, really good superhero movie with my favorite character in any superhero movie, like at a DC or Marvel or any of them, like my favorite character is Batman, so as my favorite character, and like this movie like so clearly sets up a Justice League 2 and sets up the showdown between the Justice League and Darkseid, that it's like it's fucking insane to me that, you know, it sucks so hard that they're not going to be able to make like the further movies that they had planned, because from everything like Zack Snyder has said, he had this thing planned out all the way through Justice League 3.
Yeah.
Like, so it just really fucking sucks.
It's really, really shitty that this is the point that it's gotten to, but like does it surprise you that Warner Brothers has like gotten us to this point? Like,
no.
Exactly. So
of course
it's like,
not.
I don't know. Like, let's get into like, you know, what we really did enjoy about this movie and like why we enjoyed it.
Why don't we hit on like, I don't think we really have to go through the plot, because I mean, for better or worse, the plot is pretty much the same with some major changes. So let's touch on like the major changes that happen.
Okay.
Which first off, the main villain of this movie isn't solely Steppenwolf.
Yes.
Darkseid is like a major presence in the movie.
Yeah, and up to the point where like they showed him, like straight up show him in this flashback, which like that's one of the biggest things that's changed, is that flashback is completely different. Like, it's not Steppenwolf that they're fighting in that flashback. It's Darkseid that they're fighting.
Right.
And you have Ares, who's played by David Thewlis, and Zeus, who I don't know who plays him. And you have a Green Lantern, and you have the Amazonians. You have Robin Wright up in there fighting. Like, you've got all these different forces coming together to fight Darkseid, and they kick his ass. Like, they all unite.
Yeah, and
beat the shit out of him.
So clearly sets up the motivation behind the antagonist of this movie.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, Darkseid came to this world before, and out of 10,000 worlds that he's conquered, this is the first one that he wasn't able to defeat. And they pushed him back, and now he sent Steppenwolf to finish the job for him.
Well, and, you know, Steppenwolf was a lackey of Darkseid, and this is another thing that was completely changed from the movie. His motivation was completely changed. Like, in Justice League, Joss Whedon version, you really had no justification for why he was there other than, like, conquer. And that was it.
Right.
This, it really, like...
Well, he did have the whole thing when he was, like, had this weird fucking relationship with the mother boxes. Like, the mother boxes were his kind of... The mother boxes were, like, calling out to him to,
which,
like, conjoin and destroy the world.
Yeah.
For really no clear reason
whatsoever. But by the way, spoilers for all of this. If you haven't gotten that already. But, like, now it's, you know, he has obviously failed Darkseid, and he's been, like, kind of cast out, and he's been, like, exiled. And so now he's trying to basically make penance to Darkseid. And when he gets the information that the anti-life equation is on Earth, like, that then gets Darkseid's attention, and he is now hell-bent on getting that and, you know, conquering Earth so that he can get back into the good graces of Darkseid and go back to Apocalypse. So, like, the motivation and the reason that he's doing this is so much clearer in this version than it was in the first one. And it completely makes the movie... That alone made it better. Like, that, if nothing else had changed, and they just added that in, it makes it 10 times better. Because it makes the fucking villain not only relatable, but the motivations seem way more stronger, and it makes everything he does way more, like, palpable of, like, oh shit, like, that's why he's doing this, instead of just, like, bad guy, cool.
Right.
Bad CGI, cool.
And he gives, like, the entire, like, composition of the Justice League, the team, the Justice League itself, so much more of a foundation, because it shows how Darkseid came to Earth and the old gods banded together. The Amazonians, I guess the Greek gods, the Zeus and Ares, and, you know, lanterns, they all banded together to, like, fight Darkseid off. The Lanteans, they all banded together to fight Darkseid off, and that's what is considered the old gods. And now today, or, like, in the present day, you have the Justice League coming together, which is our new gods, to again fight off Darkseid. So it's like, it just so much more clearly, like, has that through line from the history of, like, old Earth to present day, to say, like, hey, this isn't, like, an unprecedented thing that the Justice League is to come together and fight off Darkseid. Like, this has happened before, and the only way to do it again is to form, like, a coalition of sorts to fight off Darkseid.
The other thing that, like, this movie does that I don't know how I really feel about it. I think, like, he did a great performance with Cyborg. You know, Ray Fisher, there's way more scenes with him. There's way more background on how he became Cyborg, which is really interesting to see. And you've got this subplot where he's really mad at his dad, because his dad basically turned him into a freaking robot with one of the mother boxes. And so it does create more of a, you know, understanding of who that character is as well. This whole thing is about giving these characters more background, giving you a reason to really connect with them and understand why they're doing some of the things that they're doing, the choices that they're making. And you get...
Because it's important to point out, like, you know, when the original Justice League came out, the only real background we had was for Batman, for Superman, and kind of for Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman was going to come out after
Justice League. Hadn't really been
but we did kind of get her minor introduction in BVS.
Yeah.
Right. So like, but for Aquaman, for Flash, and for Cyborg,
all we got were like little snippets at the end of BVS.
Yeah,
Like,
we literally got like little MP3 files like at some point during Batman vs Superman.
so they expected to like pull in 3 brand new characters, introduce them, give you a reason to like give a shit, and then have them fight with the holy trinity of the DC universe in under 2 hours.
Right.
Like, that's what they tried to do in the first Justice League, and it's just like, that's impossible.
Let's be completely fair though. Like Marvel kind of did the same thing, right? Like we had Captain America, we had Iron Man, and we had Hulk, and Thor, but they basically brought in like.
But they had Black Widow and Iron Man 2, and they had.
Did they?
Yeah, and then they had Hawkeye in Thor. Well, they had Hawkeye like kind of in Thor. They had introduced him, I think.
Okay, so all of the characters in the original Avengers movie had already been introduced up to the point of the movie coming out. Okay, well, fuck me. But yeah, Cyborg was like incredibly more fleshed out in this movie.
Yeah,
and like it. The thing is, was it integral to the movie overall? Like it did add to the movie.
I think it was because of how the movie ends, and this I won't want to get away, but how they like save the day per se.
Mm-hmm.
That is integral because of what he does with the mother boxes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I think it is. Could you have cut some of the stuff out of there? Like, could you have cut that whole sequence where like he basically steals money and gives it to like that poor mom? Yeah, like that probably was not needed to be it. If you were cutting it down to
3 hours,
let's say under 3 hours, like
2 hours and 56 minutes.
Exactly. Like you could do that. You could take that out.
Mm-hmm.
That is not integral. But are the parts where he's, well, I guess that would be integral to how he would figure out how to like control the mother box. I don't know. Like the parts where it's with his mom or like the football scene. Like that is integral to his story overall. Like you do need that information to know how he got there because you do need some form of an origin story for this new character. Like,
right.
So I think that is integral.
Okay. So yeah, like that, and I like completely understand where the actor was coming from.
Oh fuck yeah!
Who was like, Josh Whedon just completely destroyed the character's arc.
Yeah.
In the theatrical release of the movie, and yeah, like that. I don't know. It made the movie a lot better.
Yeah, for sure.
It not only for Cyborg, like also for Flash, and for like it's interesting to point out, like even though we all very deeply know Batman's backstory, like it's not really like they deeply dove into this Batman's backstory in BVS or the Justice League. So seeing just like a little bit more interaction between him and Alfred, and between him and the other members of the Justice League, like that added to the story overall.
I want to say this. This is like, I'm going to preface this as like I am very biased here. Do you like Ezra Miller as the Flash?
No.
Okay, all right, never mind. Then we are on the same page.
I mean, okay, let me put it this way.
No added scenes with him are like, cool, I really like this character. It's like every single one of just like,
as him as like the Flash, I really don't have a problem with. As him as Barry Allen, he's annoying as fuck. Like, he just no, I don't.
Like, this is why I'm biased. Like, I don't know if I would have this same. I probably still would, but like, if I hadn't seen the Flash show, like,
right?
I don't know if I'd be like, and I don't think that's fair. Even as I'm saying it, I don't think that's fair.
No, that's completely fair.
Yeah. It's just like it's almost impossible to not compare the two. And so it's like when you think of Grant Gustin as the Flash, it's just like because there are those awkward moments of him as Barry Allen. Grant Gustin is Barry Allen in that show,
Right.
but like they don't come across as annoying. Like they come across as kind of like funny or whatever. But it's like with Ezra Miller, it's just like this is so fucking cringe. Oh my god, dude! Like just stop. Like it really gets annoying. But then there's one scene, and I think they kept this in the Joss Whedon Justice League, where like Batman and Wonder Woman and Cyborg like all dip out on Commissioner Gordon, and like Flash is still standing there, and he's like, "Oh wow, like they just left." That was rude. Like I thought that was kind of funny.
That was funny.
I thought that was really funny. I thought that was really well done. But then there's like the I Need Friends thing, or like the the hot dog scene, which like isn't really them talking, but like, and if you haven't seen the movie, I am not going to explain what that means. You will understand what I mean by
the hot dog scene.
By hot dog scene when you get to it.
It's not really. I mean,
it is a scene with hot dogs in it. That is,
but it's also a scene that was in the original Justice League.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-mm. Trust me, that was one of the reasons that they knew that there was a Snyder cut, because that scene was in the trailer.
It was in the trailer,
but it was not in the movie. And so people were like, "Wait a second, where did that entire scene go? Because it's not in the movie." And they were like,
"What? No. It definitely like a part of that scene was definitely in the. It was, dude.
I will go back. I will suffer through the whole hour, and I think it's like 58 minutes of this Joss Whedon Snyder cut. I am positive that scene's not in there.
I'm equally as positive that like
gentleman's bet.
There was a version / like microscopic part of that scene, because he meets that character in.
She's not in the movie at all.
Are you fucking?
Well, I'm 100% on. Like I'm 100% sure.
I don't know. I could care less.
Okay.
Really. But,
hot dog scene. Check it out. So
bottom line, like I don't think.
But like we agree on this. Bottom line, like the Flash, like him as the Flash is just
it doesn't work. I'm like, and it kind of sucks. It's a cool character.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few characters that they're giving a full length movie
with Ben Affleck in.
And I'm not looking forward to it like at all.
Some of the Ben Affleck, like Ezra Miller, like chemistry is kind of funny. Like, but it misses more than it hits. And that's highly unfortunate for that character, but whatever. Oh, something that they added, which is another Arrowverse thing that I've known about. Ryan Choi is added to this movie. He was not in the Justice League. He was a scientist at Star Labs.
Okay.
In the comics, he is known as a character called the Atom, who can shrink down to the size of an atom.
So he's Ant-Man.
Yeah. Well, no. Very different. There are no ants with the Atom.
Okay. Sounds the same to me.
But in this version, or in this character, he can shrink literally down to like, what's the micro level?
Sure.
Micro, whatever.
Micron.
He can literally like get super, super small, and he can go into the microverse where there's like actual cities and shit. Like he goes into these like cities that are literally in like particles.
You're literally explaining fucking Ant-Man.
There's no cities in.
But there's the Quantumverse.
Yeah, but there's no city. Like there's
no fucking cities, but it's like a whole nother.
There's like a literal
like
city
universe, basically.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's crazy. But the Atom came before Ant-Man, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we have to just point that out.
Which, yeah, it's
like
fine.
This character added nothing.
They just had a character with the same name. Like he in no way.
Yeah, he does not become the Atom at all. But
right,
like,
and he is definitely not going to.
But like Snyder, I think, even said that he wanted him to become the Atom.
Okay,
so
I guess we were talking about that. We should really quickly hit on.
I thought it was cool. I really enjoyed that. I was like,
Martian Man, or whatever the
fuck. The Martian Manhunter, which this has been rumored for, or not even rumored. This was confirmed forever ago that he was going to be in this movie. Played by Harry Lennox.
This one, like, I think they definitely should have kept out because, like,
no, I love that shit, dude. I thought that was awesome. It just like there's no justification for it. It's literally just like
exactly
hey, we're gonna have the Martian Manhunter in it. And
like,
it's like fucking 4 hours.
Him turning, or like Superman's mom, Martha, turning into the Martian Manhunter after her interaction with Lois Lane.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Like, literally, there's no fucking explanation for it. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
And, like there's no fucking there's no reason this guy should be in the movie.
It's very odd. It's very odd, too, that
Can you give me any fucking, reason? Like, why was he in this movie?
I could literally... I'm telling you, I cannot.
What was the point of him talking to Batman at the end of the movie?
He's going to become part of the Justice League. He's a Justice League member in the comics. He's a founding Justice League member.
Fuck's sake. But okay, you can't just have Martha turn into the Martian Manhunter and then not give us an explanation, especially for someone who had no fucking idea this character even existed. Like,
for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't not give background.
That's 100% him adding that in because a bunch of fans were like, we want Martian Manhunter. Like, well, hold on. Here's the real thing. I think in Man of Steel, so this is the biggest thing. The general that was in Man of Steel, that's Martian Manhunter, and
he was in Batman vs Superman.
Exactly. So this character has been in these movies for a really long time, and I think he's had interactions with Lois Lane. I don't remember, but
no, he definitely did. In Batman vs Superman, he was very integral in the storyline while interacting with Lois Lane.
So maybe it's literally just supposed to be hey, he's trying to get her spirits up, and he has a close connection with her.
Okay, but please explain to me how the fucking Secretary of Defense of the goddamn U.S. government is somehow a fucking shape-shifting Martian. And does Martha even exist? Where's Martha?
Yes,
who?
That was a weird part.
Who got fucking kidnapped in BVS?
That was a weird part where it was hold on, did Lois come to Martha later, the real Martha, and basically say hey, thanks for coming and giving me a pep talk? And Martha was just what the fuck are you talking about? What? I want to see that scene. That should have been in the 4-hour movie.
That is literally the only part of this movie that
it made no sense.
No, it didn't make no sense. It's the only part of the movie I can seriously critique or that I didn't like.
Yeah,
I have no idea who this fucking guy is.
And you don't need to. All you need to know is he's a shape-shifting Martian. That's 100% all you need.
If you're going to tell me that there's a shape-shifting Martian running around in integral parts of this movie, you have to give me some background, dude. That's
I don't know, man. Is okay. So here's I'm legitimately asking this question. Is it not background?
It's if we were watching Tom and Jerry turned out to be a shape-shifting fucking alien and you didn't explain it at all.
Yeah, you just left it. You were just all right.
That's what you did. That's exactly what happened in this fucking movie.
What that character's been doing for 4 hours.
The fucking guy who launched a nuke in Batman vs Superman, it turned out to be a fucking Martian.
He did launch a nuke, didn't he? That's awkward. No, I think it's it is weird because you do have all this screen time where he's acting is he the Secretary of Defense?
Yes.
How do you get appointed as being the Secretary of Defense?
I don't know.
Did he just kidnap the real Secretary of Defense and
you tell me, Alex?
We have no idea. Yeah, okay, that is a huge plot hole.
Thank you.
But you do have all of this screen time where he was acting as the Secretary of Defense, and so it's
But was that the is it the real when did it change or happen? When?
It's always been every time that he was in the movies.
Okay,
that was Martian Manhunter.
But then what about Martha? Every time we saw Martha, was it also Martian Manhunter?
No, that was actually Martha, except for this one scene, I'm assuming. I have no idea.
Okay, thank you. That's a major.
Yeah, that is
weird
bad. But I think I think that gets glossed over. Maybe it definitely shouldn't.
Definitely shouldn't.
It gets glossed over because it's oh yeah, it's freaking Martian Manhunter, dude. Dude, I looked over.
But for all the super deep cut DC nerds, they're fuck yeah, Martian Manhunter.
That's exactly what
everyone else is watching is what the fuck is happening right now?
I looked over at your face.
HBO Max glitch out or something?
I looked over at your face and you were wait, what?
Yeah, dude.
I laughed so hard, man.
Anyways,
Yeah, that was a strange part of this movie.
all right. Last thing.
We're jumping all over the place. I love it.
Yeah, last thing we'll touch on.
Okay.
The last act of this, or the last part of this movie.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's completely different.
No. If we're gonna do this, we definitely need to say
spoilers for the
heavy
ending.
Spoilers for like the literal last 10 minutes of this movie.
If you are listening to this later, we live stream this on YouTube. Do not listen from here on out if you do not want the ending of Zack Snyder's Justice League spoiled. Where do you want to begin with this, Ryan?
Okay, I just want to say first off, this, like, the previous part of the movie, they each like section was called a part, or I guess was it act or part?
Part.
Okay, the second to last part where they defeat Steppenwolf. That is the first time, pretty much in a DC movie, where like I had my mouth gaping open, like I was watching like an Avengers movie or something.
Bro, you and I both were just like,
right,
what is happening right now?
Like that part of the movie, like completely sold me on Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you know, like just loving this version of it. And then the last part with the Joker, with is it Deadshot? Deathstroke and Batman and Johnny Depp man-beater, Amber Heard.
Allegedly. Mara.
Anyways,
Mara.
at the end
Flash.
At the end of this, and Flash. At the end of this scene, this is like what basically tied it up for me, where I was like, I want Justice League 2 to literally start from this fucking scene. Like, I want to see the sequel so fucking bad now because of how good this scene was.
Are you talking about the nightmare scene?
Yes.
Okay, but I think that's where you would, even if they did do a Snyder 2,
okay,
I'm going to call it a Snyder 2, it would not pick up there. It would pick up with like Martian Manhunter flying away from his freaking house, and you would have like,
I don't think so. I think it would pick up somewhere with, because at the end of that like second to last part, they said that it had the scene with Darkseid, and he was like, "Ready the Armada, we're fucking going to Earth, boys." I think it would start like at either like in a scene similar to that nightmare scene, and then like flash back to the actual invasion of Darkseid, or it would start somehow like just before the invasion of Darkseid, and then like all of a sudden, holy shit, you know, apocalypse is coming to Earth, and it would like very quickly get to something similar to that.
Yeah, and somehow Lois dies, and then you have Superman going nuts, and he's on the bad guy's side, and
then somehow the Joker gets out of fucking Arkham, and like
they like break him out of Arkham. It looked like, or like he gets out somehow. But
holy shit, was this version of the Joker like?
It was such a
so great,
jaw dropping, like the Joker scene, but not even just that, like the scene where they have to fight Steppenwolf, and like they've basically lost because the mother boxes are going to like synchronize and like basically obliterate Earth, and like the Flash has to like run back. He has to run as fast as he can to turn shit back. Like that's him creating Flashpoint. A, B, like watching that and seeing like all these people getting blown up, and then him like redoing everything and then pushing like Cyborg in so that Cyborg could do his thing. Was such a visually captivating moment where you knew you were watching like a comic book, like literally come to life. Like that's all that was right there. It was the cinematography was fucking excellent, and like just the justification for all that happening in that moment, and then just watching like the Flash get to do what he did, like literally my jaw was just like.
Did Superman come back before or after Flash did that? No. So like, the part where like it looks like they've lost and the unity happens, and there's like this fucking shockwave that goes out from where the mother boxes were. Yeah, and that's the point where Flash
does his thing.
Holy fuck! I need to like reverse time so like we have a chance at this. Like, fucking my god.
From that moment on, yeah, dude. Like I was like, we both were. I had looked over you and you were insane. Like,
that might have been the
insane
best fucking sequence of scenes in the current like DC film series. Just
it's close, yeah,
amazing, dude.
It's completely different from like any scene in Joker or like not even really like Wonder. The one that comes to mind kind of is the no man's land scene from Wonder Woman, where she like runs across and like nobody else is doing it, and she's just like that scene's incredible too.
Yeah.
So like those two are up there. Like you have that, and then you've got like he reverses time, and then that's when Superman shows up and just completely flips the script on Steppenwolf. And then you have, and then I've heard rumors about this, like how they finish off Steppenwolf, which again is completely different from Justice League, is 10 times fucking better. Like again, do not understand how Warner Brothers looked at this cut, or Joss Whedon looked at this cut and was like, nah, I'm gonna make him like be fearful, and then the parademons are just going to fly him off. I don't get how you think that's a better option than Aquaman spearing Steppenwolf in the back, throwing him at a portal, and then Wonder Woman decapitating him.
Right.
Like, that is one of the most insane, intense, gory, bloody, fucking crazy
and literally
scenes in any comic book
kicking
movie.
His head to the feet of
Darkseid. And then all of them looking up at him like, yeah, bitch, what's up? Like, that in and of itself is a badass scene where they're literally just staring at him, like, and it's supposed to echo the battle where like Darkseid lost. Like, it's supposed to be a like that in and of itself, that entire like 30-second sequence is so freaking sick. Like it is amazing to watch. And like that right there, I was just like, oh, they did that.
Yeah.
Like they did that. And that's where I don't give a shit if you didn't like that it was 4 hours or like any of that stuff. That's your opinion. Cool. We can all have great conversations about this. There's a lot of hateful stuff going on right now within the conversations of this movie, and we'll get to that in a bit.
And if you don't want to see a 4-hour Snyder cut, there's definitely a way to watch this. Like, just watch it as
the parts.
Watch the parts in one sitting each.
Yeah,
like a TV show.
But like that scene, dude, that movie, that like 30-second, maybe like more like 5-minute scene, starting with like where
Superman shows up,
or the Flash, like where the Flash does his thing, then Superman shows up. And then they do that. Like that 5-minute sequence was just like some of the craziest 5 minutes in any superhero movie.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to watch. Like,
no, it was really good. What did you think of the whole nightmare scene that really ended the movie?
I loved hearing Joker say he's going to give a reach around to Batman. I thought that was
pretty hot.
I thought that was edgy.
And then Batman actually telling Joker that he will fucking kill him.
He will fucking he drops an F-bomb, which is
if we don't get Robert Pattinson dropping F-bombs, I'm kind of gonna be disappointed.
Batman. No, I think it's a really
watch your fucking mouth.
Shut up.
I'm sorry, but if anyone tries to tell me Ben Affleck is the best Batman,
I would never tell you that.
You can fuck off right to China. Okay,
I would say Michael Keaton's best Batman, but
are you serious?
No.
Who's the best Batman?
For Christian Bale. That's his name. No, man. Like, I think it's a really interesting scene. I like that they built more on top of like that nightmare sequence, and they're teasing things that are supposed to come to pass. The conversation between Batman and the Joker is interesting. I like that they, kind of toyed at the history behind them, and did it in a way where it's not like, well, I'll go kill Robin again. And it's like, it was very nuanced and very just like, obviously two people who had history, and they were just kind of poking at it like people who have history would.
Right.
It was realistic dialogue between these two.
Do you think they would have shown, like maybe in Justice League 2, they would have shown how the Joker killed Robin?
Yeah, supposedly that's what they wanted to do.
Okay, yeah, because I heard somewhere. I watched like a whole bunch of fucking reviews
Yeah.
today. Apparently, one of Snyder's like story arcs was going to be like showing the Joker kill Robin, and apparently it would have happened in Wayne Manor, and that's why Wayne Manor is basically like burnt to the ground. It's because like Joker basically invaded it to kill Robin, and
I like that a lot.
and then like that's why that's why Bruce Wayne lives in like the house like
across the lake.
like well yeah just on the property,
Yeah,
not actually in Wayne Manor.
No, I would have liked to have not like other than like death. I think that would have been really interesting to see. I just think like
really cool to see like Matt Damon as Robin too. So
that would have totally happened. No, I also really like the nightmare scene because it followed up the scene where Deathstroke finds out that Batman's Bruce Wayne from Lex Luthor, which good lord, another horrible casting, but whatever. Like having that been then followed up with a nightmare scene where like Deathstroke is working with Batman, like that juxtaposition of him basically being like, yeah, let's toast the fact that I can go kill Batman to actively working with him because the situation calls for it. I thought that was a really cool, like it automatically makes the stakes that much higher in the nightmare sequence because you now are like, oh wait, like he wants to kill him, eye for an eye type deal, but now they're working together. Okay, something has diametrically changed.
So like something has gone so wrong that Batman is now working with Deathstroke and the Joker
and Queen Mara. So like which they were probably going to be allies anyways, but like the fact that they're all having to work together, it's like, okay, the stakes are this much higher. Like I thought that was a really cool way to like get that point across really easily. Really easily, really simply.
And it sucks so hard because like after seeing that scene, like I want to see so much more of Joker and Deathstroke. Like Deathstroke seemed like a fucking badass character.
No, Joe Manganiello, or however you say his name, seems like he would have done a really great job as Deathstroke. So like that is another part that just like gets into my craw about this whole thing.
Yeah. I wish what they really this is like would have seemed like a good idea. They like should have followed up Batman vs Superman with like a Batman versus Deathstroke type like a kind of Justice League 0.5 and then gone into Justice League.
Yeah, like they wanted Deathstroke to be a because the Batman movie that Ben Affleck was going to direct
was basically Deathstroke.
Deathstroke was going to be the villain.
That would have been so much better. Like have the Batman movie with Deathstroke as the villain, introduce the characters who are going to make up the Justice League, and then you have your real fucking Justice League.
So it's kind of like, but let's get into this real quick. Is there anything else that you want to talk about the movie?
No.
Okay. It came out today that, and this gets into,
and this is going to answer one of Benny's questions. So this is perfect.
This gets into kind of the reaction to the movie. Obviously, it had blown up all weekend. Like it crashed HBO Max when it was launched. You had insane hype around it, and then on the Monday following it coming out, the Warner Media CEO Ann Sarnoff basically comes out in an interview and says, "No, we're not making another Zack Snyder."
Wait, when did they do this?
Today.
Okay, yeah.
And we are not doing a Zack Snyder Justice League sequel. This will not happen.
Okay, my answer to that is, did at any point anyone at the executive team of Warner Brothers ever say that they weren't going to release the Snyder Cut?
Yes.
That's all. That's literally.
I got kind of mad about this earlier today, but I'm starting to think that like there could be a weird like strategy happening here where they're
going to deny like
they're going to
future projects and then like surprise, oh, we're going to do it.
They're going to rile people up as much as possible and rile and wait until it gets to a fever pitch and then just announce it.
Yeah.
Now that does something that I don't think is really smart, which is this. there are undeniably people, I'm not saying it's a large portion, but there are people within the, let's just say, DC fandom community or whatever, who are not great people, who kind of take things a little far sometimes.
Okay.
And by that, they send people death threats and they threaten their children. And they say, what I'm saying is, if they are to go down this road and if this is really what they're doing, like that might set up these people to go like to extreme lengths when you could kind of just cut this off at the head and say like, hey, we're going to do it. But like,
right. I mean,
what are your thoughts on that?
There's so many like things to run through with this. First off, okay, so before Justice League, before Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I would have said like, just it's great we're getting this new version of Justice League, but like what Warner Brothers really needs to do is like completely cut bait. I don't think they should even be doing like the Flash movie. I think they should completely like fucking cut the anchor, do Matt Reeves' Batman, and then launch from there, and only do like individual movies very much in the vein of like the original Wonder Woman, in the vein of Joker, in the vein of
have them be siloed, have them be individual. Yeah,
exactly.
Don't worry about crossovers. Yeah. I see where you're
don't do crossovers and do like really, really focus in on like getting one character right and one like very, very good story right. But like after seeing this version, it's still really hard because like I want to see a second Justice League and I want to see Zack Snyder do a Justice League, but you have multiple issues with that. First off, you're going to have all these different versions of Batman being out there. You're apparently going to have Michael Keaton Batman being the Flash.
Ben Affleck is going to be in the Flash.
Ben Affleck is going to be in the Flash, and then like within a few, 3 or 4 months before the Flash is supposed to come out, you're going to have Matt Reeves as Batman. You're going to have Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's so fucking unfair to, like, it's unfair when they did this to Jared Leto. It's unfair to do it to Robert Pattinson. If you're going to have Batman, have a Batman. Don't have 3 fucking Batmans at the same time. It's unfair to the person that's like, devoting their life to becoming this character to have like 3 different versions of it floating out all at the same time.
I think there's a way to do all of these. And again, it's going back to like what the Arrowverse has done. They had 2 Supermen at one time. Like they've had multiples, and I know it's not